After Revenge of the Island reached its conclusion, it was announced that we would be getting an all-stars season with characters from the first generation and the second generation all coming together as one large cast. At the time, if you were like me, you were probably really excited to see who these characters would be and how they would interact with each other. We would later see teasers or promos of Chana, Owen, Joe, and various other characters, some of which didn't compete, so when the season dropped, it was a complete letdown. Characters were being derailed left and right, horrible antagonist and ending, it was all just really disappointing. But probably one of the biggest letdowns was characters that should have been in All-Stars ended up not returning. So today we're going to be listing the top 8 Total Drama characters that should have been in All-Stars. But before we begin, make sure to click that like and subscribe button so I know you like my content. Without further interruptions, let's begin. I've said it many times already, but having 14 characters, it's just not enough. An all-star season should have a cast of at least 18 characters, like, come on. This season could have been the best season of Total Drama ever, but they threw it all away. And disclaimer, no Pockatail Island characters will be on this list, since that's the back half of Season 5, and obviously it came after All-Stars. If you want to hear about me fixing Total Drama All-Stars, where I mentioned the Pockatail cast and the Revenge cast being one large cast, then be sure to check all that out, and I'll leave links down below in the description. But let's just get started at our number 1 spot, which is Chana. I chose Chana because she overall interacts well with most of the cast, so I could see her having a lot of fun moments, especially with the second generation characters. Obviously she'd have her beef with Heather, so it would spice All-Stars up by a lot, having her own drama if you will. Honestly, I could even see her taking charge of the Heroes team in some challenges. She didn't back down to anyone, and I think her slapping Heather all around town is a prime example of that. She made it to the final 5 in Island, so there's no doubt in my mind I could see her being a great competitor if she came back for All-Stars. Now I know she didn't do too well in World Tour because of Alejandra's manipulation, but this time all around I think it's safe to assume she'd know better this time. I mean, she even comments at the end of World Tour telling Alejandro and Heather they're both done if they were to decide on the winner. I don't know, I for some reason don't really talk about Chana much. I don't know why. I mean, she's not really the best character, but she's not the worst character either. So while I remember her right now this minute, I would have her come back for All-Stars for sure. Number 2 is B. Since there's only 13 Revenge of the Island characters, there's not really that many to choose from and add to the list compared to the first generation cast. So there won't be any more Revenge of the Island characters on here except one more character that I'm pretty sure you have a good idea on who that is. But getting back to B, I absolutely loved his no-talking personality. It's something we haven't really seen much of in Total Drama, aside from like Beardo, but he was a lame character overall. At least B was a genius who had some memorable moments, helping his team almost win some challenges, like building a literal rocket, couch to fly up to the top of a cliff, he used an ice mirror to melt the other team's snow castle, and so much more. If it wasn't for Scott trying to make his team lose and sabotage everything in sight, who knows, maybe they would have won almost every challenge. I think it would have been a great asset for the Heroes team, and if the writers still want an easy character to work with, then B's name is written all over that. He already doesn't talk, so there you go. He 100% should have been in All-Stars. He's a much better choice than Sam or Sierra in my opinion. Number 3 is Tyler. I chose him because he's still got to pay Alejandro back that favor. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. For those asking that down in the comments, yes, I've seen it, and it's 17 seconds I'll never get back. But no, in all seriousness, Tyler was a really funny character. He had the perfect amount of comical relief, and it's something I think would have worked well in All-Stars. Because for what comical relief we got, there wasn't really much to go off of. Unless you want to count Mal trying to be scary, then yeah, we had plenty of it. Tyler didn't get to compete in Total Drama Action, so it would be nice for him to come back and interact with the second generation. And with his funny personality, I think it would make for some nice hilarious moments. Having Tyler in the game this time around would also have storylines for Lindsay, so the two could have their alliance, and hopefully this time you won't see a Lindsay first boot. I've heard many fans say Lindsay's voice actor had a family emergency and that's why she ended up placing last, but let's just pretend that wasn't the case, and her alliance with Tyler could actually go far. Overall, Tyler probably isn't the character a lot of people would choose for All-Stars, but for a funny character and for Lindsay, I think he would have been a great choice for All-Stars. But that's just my opinion. I know a lot of people probably think otherwise, but honestly, I like Tyler a lot, and I think his interactions and funny personality would make for a really great season this time around. Halfway on our list, we have Harold. I absolutely love his character. He would have been a great rival to Duncan again, and hopefully with their combination, it would steer Duncan back on the path of his past season performances, so he won't be derailed as much. Harold actually does have a lot of skills and is 100% All-Stars worthy. He was able to shock everyone, including Duncan, by winning the dodgeball tournament in Untitled Drama Island against Owen. He was able to pick a lock underwater to save the action cast from drowning. All throughout the show, Harold always brings up how he went to a certain camp that corresponds to the challenge they're currently competing in. If they brought Chana in as well, obviously that opens the door for their storylines. All around, he has the guts and skill to be a Total Drama All-Star character in my book. Number 5 is Trent. Now I chose Trent because I'm hoping that this time he'll come back to the game with a clear head, and since he and Gwen had a thing in Island and partly in action, he could help break the stupid love triangle between Duncan, Courtney, and Gwen. Now, I'm not saying have Trent and Gwen date again, but I mean if they did, it wouldn't really be a problem with me, because honestly it would probably be beneficial, because you would have Duncan maybe realize he should just try and go back to Courtney, or just focus on the game, one of the two. Either way, however it would go, it would certainly make things a lot more interesting. Overall, while I wouldn't consider Trent an S tier character, I would, put him maybe around A tier or B tier. He's a good character overall, if you take out his number 9 obsession. And seeing how it all went down in Total Drama Action, I think by this point he would be all good to go if they gave him a call to come back to the show. As for how we interact with the cast, I think he would obviously have a ton of interactions with Gwen, obviously. Maybe even have some nice competitive moments against Duncan as well. I'd definitely love to see him interact with, Mike though, not Mal. Overall though, he's a cool character and I really think he would have gotten along with everyone for the most part. Number 6, I chose Brick. I feel like Brick is on every single one of my lists at this point when it comes to returning characters and winning seasons or whatever. But what's actually funny is he was confirmed to be an All-Stars, but they didn't end up adding him for whatever reason. I think Anne-Marie was also supposed to return as well, but they ended up both getting replaced, which is a total shame. I would have loved to see Brick come back, not as much as Anne-Marie, but Brick all around, he had so much going for him. His military background made him a great leader. And with his rivalry with Joe, there was a lot they could do with his character in All-Stars. I absolutely loved his bravery in the cave episode, putting everyone else's safety above his own, and even sacrificing the win and his spot in the game, which of course led to his elimination. Brick is a character that I see underrated, and I see should have won a season, in my opinion of course. And 100,000,000% he should have been an All-Stars. I don't know what they were thinking on that one by not including him. Nearing the end of our list, at our number 7 spot, we have Owen. Now, I know a lot of people really don't like Owen all that much, and I've even seen some people going as far to say he had no business being an All-Stars. Which, based off the story with Mal and everything, it kind of makes sense why they didn't add him, because, he doesn't fit in with that storyline. But All-Stars needs to be completely overhauled anyway, so having Owen come back makes the most sense to me. He makes it far in every single season he's in. Obviously, we know he wins Total Drama Island, so for the definition of an All-Star worthy character, Owen fits that role completely. Plus, as I said with the promotional posters, most of the time it's always featuring Owen and Chris, so they should have brought him back to compete. I kind of felt like his cameos at the end of the season were insults, because when I first saw it, I was like, bro, where were you? Why aren't you competing? It was all just a big F you in my opinion. Again, I know a lot of people really don't like Owen all that much. Personally, I think he should have come back anyway. Obviously, he's a big goofball, so he would interact pretty well with the cast. I've seen people say he shouldn't have come back, along with other characters that have won a season previously because, we know they wouldn't win a season because they won before. And I say yes and no on that, because if they didn't add these people who won a season, obviously that eliminates most of the popular characters. The people that we, want to see back. That category obviously, fits Heather, Alejandro, Lightning, Cameron, Duncan. I mean, would you really want to say you don't want to see these characters come back? Be honest with me. It's just a really tough call overall. That's why I think All-Star should have had more people. And at some point, they probably should do a double winner, so that way it shows they can actually win a season. And honestly, with Owen, this is going to be an unpopular opinion. I wouldn't mind seeing him win again, so that way, it shows us a double winner can actually happen. At our great number 8 spot, we have Justin. I really wish he would have been an All-Stars. Seeing him interact with Alejandro would have been so great. They could have made an alliance, and it would have been so interesting. He didn't get much time to shine as an antagonist in action. All-Stars would have been a great time for them to fully unlock his villainous personality, and with Alejandro's help, they'd be pretty much unstoppable in my opinion. It just sucks because as you're watching Total Drama Action, there's no real threat until Courtney shows up halfway. And before that, all Justin really did was make his team do stuff for him, because he was just too lazy to do it himself. But again, it doesn't even last that long because, with his looks and all that kind of fade away. after Lindsay and Beth call him out for being lazy. So he doesn't have that strategy overall like how Alejandro does. So if you put the two of them together, side by side or whatever, they could have a lot of potential. I really believe that. It's all just a shame how All-Stars turned out the way it did. There should have been way more episodes, way more characters, just way more of everything. And as much as I like the heroes versus villain idea, in practice it's not that great because you're going to end up with more heroes than villains. Since there really wasn't other characters I would consider a villain out of Gen 1 and 2 that wasn't already in All-Stars. You know, like Anne Maria, for example, that's probably the only one that wasn't in All-Stars. I think they should have just combined Gen 2 and 3 and then had an All-Star season, even though Gen 3 didn't have any good characters anyway. So I'll just say this, in case for anyone's wondering. For All-Stars, I bring back Sean, Jasmine, and maybe Topher for Gen 3. For Gen 1 and 2, I would say DJ, Noah, and maybe Dawn, I guess, so that way she can actually do something this time around. But alright viewers, that crosses off our list for the top 8 Total Drama characters that should have been in All-Stars. Let me know what list you'd like to see next. With all that said, I look forward to seeing you with our next list.